Did Satan rule the earth before Adam? No doubt an interesting hypothesis, one worth exploring for sure. Beelzebub, Lucifer, the devil. This being, who goes by a plethora of names, has taken on various forms within pop culture, often personified as something of a joke. Nothing could be further from the truth. He is the apex of all evils, the antithesis of light, full of pride and shrouded in wickedness. No doubt someone to be alert of, as Paul said in 1 Peter 5:8. He's roaming around looking for those to devour. Who is this provocative creature? What was his origin? What drove him to this place of bitter resentment against the Almighty? Within the Bible, Satan is named or alluded to roughly 60 times, not as much as you would think. When speaking about his origin and personal life story, there are only two passages that seem to give us in-depth insight into his life before the fall. Ezekiel 28:12-19 is the most insightful passage on Satan's position before he led a coup in heaven. Son of man, take up a lamentation for the king of Tyre. The author is using the king of Tyre as an example of being similar to Lucifer, and say to him, "Thus says the Lord God, you were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was your covering, the sardius, the topaz, the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, the jasper, the sapphire, the turquoise, and the emerald with gold. The workmanship of your timbrels and pipes was prepared for you on the day that you were created. You were the anointed cherub who covers. I established you. You were on the holy mountain of God. You walked back and forth in the midst of fiery stones. You were perfect in your ways from the day you were created, till iniquity was found in you. By the abundance of your trading, you became filled with violence within, and you sinned. Therefore, I cast you as a profane thing out of the mountain of God, and I destroyed you, O covering cherub, from the midst of the fiery stones. Your heart was lifted up because of your beauty. You corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor. I cast you to the ground. I laid you before kings, that they may gaze at you. You defiled your sanctuaries in the multitudes of your iniquities by the iniquity of your trading. Therefore I brought fire from the midst. It devoured you, and I turned you to ashes before the earth in the sight of all who saw you. All who knew you among the peoples are astonished at you. You have become a horror and shall be no more forever." There's a lot to unpack there. First, when reading the creation narrative, many envision Eden in overly simplistic ways. Adam and Eve are often described as roaming around, picking grapes, lounging, just simply chillaxing, all alone. Ezekiel 28 says that Satan was in the Garden of Eden, not in the form of a snake, however, but in the form of a beautiful angelic being, arrayed in precious stones, walking in the midst of the fiery rocks. It says he was the anointed cherub who covers. This is descriptive of the role of the throne guardian in Jewish religion, a role which many scholars suggest Lucifer occupied. Cherubim are adorned in the tabernacle and temple as guarding the mercy seat or God's throne. Cherubim are beings whose job was to guard the throne room of the god in the Mesopotamian religion of the ancient world. Lucifer is called a cherubim. He's the closest anyone could be to God's presence. With all of this in mind, we need to ask a fundamental question. Is this the same Eden that Adam was in? Did they occupy and work in Eden at the same time? There are some clues in this passage and in Isaiah 14 that indicate to us that this possibly is not the same Eden, but rather a former Eden on the earth, one which was destroyed in Satan's rebellion. And Genesis 1:2 is describing God's reordering of the cataclysmic earth, which was left formless and void in the aftermath, and then allotting a new caretaker, Adam. Okay, back to the text to support the thesis. Ezekiel 28 says that Satan was on the mountain of God. This is interesting because Genesis 2 is described as Eden having 4 rivers which flow from it. Where do rivers flow from? Higher elevations, also known as mountains. The Garden of Eden is on a mountain in Genesis 2. With Ezekiel 28 describing a physical feature like a mountain in a garden, this gives us greater confidence that this Eden is on the earth and not in some sort of heavenly Eden, as some have suggested. For further support that Lucifer ruled in some form on this old earth, let's go to Isaiah 14:12 through 17. How you have fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, how you are cut down to the ground, you who weaken the nations. For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into the heavens. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will also sit on the mount of the congregation of the farthest sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the lowest depths of the pit. Those who see you will gaze at you and consider you, saying, is this the man who made the earth tremble, who shook kingdoms, who made this whole world a wilderness and destroyed its cities, who did not open the houses of the prisoners? An obvious parallel is drawn between Ezekiel 28 and Isaiah 14. Here we get a detail added which may explain a chain of events and processes behind Satan's fall. This detail is that of Lucifer's throne. Thrones, by their nature, imply dominion and rulership, and given what we know from Ezekiel saying Lucifer was in Eden, it is not far-fetched to speculate that he took up residence and authority here on the earth at some time in the distant past. However, you might say, wait, I thought you said Lucifer's job was a throne guardian. This is absolutely true. It is possible that this was his first role in the heavenly realm and was later promoted to a rulership position on the earth. And after the initial thrill of the promotion died down, he sought after a higher goal, to exalt his throne above Eden, above the stars of God, above the earth, to the very place of God's throne. In order to do this, Satan led a rebellion. Now, this is purely speculative, but I've long wondered whether there is some sort of destruction that our universe was subject to. All over the place in our universe, there are signs of chaos, almost as if something of a battle had taken place around our solar system. The asteroid field being a smaller example of this. I am not the first person to notice this. Scientists have long been baffled by the chaotic state of the universe and wondered why so much of it has been uninhabitable. Is it possible that at some time in the distant past that angels inhabited the planets and had a vast network of trade and societal structures? After all, Ezekiel 28 speaks of Lucifer as becoming puffed up with pride due to the abundance of his trade. This may sound extremely hypothetical, and I would also caution that you not read too much into what I'm saying. But my entire life, I've never been able to shake this feeling as though something definitely happened in this war against God before Adam's time, and the universe still bears the scars to prove it. Food for thought. Now, after this coup is squashed, this may be the best explanation that we have for why this earth is described as being in a chaotic state in Genesis 1:2, especially since Isaiah 45:18 says that God did not create the earth in chaos, but to be inhabited. And 1 Corinthians 14:33 says that God is not a God of disorder, but of peace. Therefore, it is not wrong to speculate as to why the earth was formless and void or disordered in verse 2, which suggests that a massive event took place after verse 1. Genesis 1:2 says that God was hovering over the waters, while some have suggested that a more accurate translation would be that God was brooding over the waters, the way that a mother hen broods and protects her baby chicks. This imagery can suggest a protective nature, that God the Father is alert, aware of some sort of darkness and danger that has taken place, and he has a plan, one of redemption, to take the dominion of the earth away from Satan and to give it to a new creation, one made in his own image. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to the channel. This is Renaissance Ministries with David Irwin. Please pay attention for my next upload. Hopefully it'll be sometime soon. But in the meantime, God bless.